Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Welcome in on a Monday morning. Well, that was quite the weekend. Ton of sports there. The Aggies got it done. Utah State nearly made a mess of it. BYU did make a mess of it. They lose at West Virginia while the Aggies win at home against Grand Canyon. Utah Jazz get the loss they desperately wanted. Pelicans beat them, pass them in the standings. And the Mammoth get a loss that they desperately did not want, and they should not have had to suffer. And why did they lose to a Chicago team that was on the road playing back-to-back at Colorado and Utah at elevation? Come on, that's a bad loss for the Utah Mammoth. We'll get to all of that coming up. Let's start with Real Salt Lake. They beat the Sounders 2-1 because they always beat the Sounders at home. Seattle's last win in Utah was a decade ago in the Open Cup. They did win a 2012 MLS playoff game here, and they haven't won the regular season since 2011. They have a long and tortured history here. RSL wins 2-1. Aiden Hezarkhani, the 18-year-old, has to play because there's so many injured players in front of him that they're no longer in front of him, and he's got to step up. And he scored the game's first goal. Really good finish. If you haven't seen the highlights, find a clip of it on social media, YouTube. It was really good. Gozo set it up with a run that drew, I think, half the Seattle team to him, and then created the space 3 passes later for the goal to happen. Here's Aiden Hezarkhani. He's 18 years old. He'll turn 19 in June. Here he is after scoring the first of RSL's 2 goals.
Congrats on the goal, Aiden. What did you see on that play, and how did it feel?
I was saying this before. I think it was just, being there at the right time. So, Juan played a great ball in, and I just got lucky that it went to me. And at that moment, it was just, keeping my composure and getting it on frame. And I got lucky it went in, so, yeah.
You played with guys, with Luca and Gozo for a while now.
Yeah.
Is it kind of crazy now that you guys are still playing together but at this level against the Seattle Sounders?
Yeah, it is kind of crazy, but I feel like it's something that we've all manifested. So it's no surprise that we're here now. So it's just good to see that all the boys are up at the highest level. So yeah.
Hey, Aiden. Congrats on the goal. Congrats on the win again. I just want to ask you, if you were to look back at this moment 3 months from now, what would you say to yourself?
If I were to look back at this moment, I'd probably just say to myself to just keep building off this moment, and it's just the first of many. So just use this momentum to take it on to the next game and keep getting 3 points, because that's ultimately what matters.
Yesterday we talked a little bit. You kind of mentioned that preseason was a pretty good start for you, so you were ready to take on these challenges. Personally, have you set any goals for the first team yourself? Any goals on scoring goals or assisting, or any number in mind that you have for that?
Yeah, regarding goals and assists, I'd like to get probably 10 over GA this year, so goals and assists combined. And I think the main thing is just as far as the team aspect, getting as high as we can. The goals will come as long as we perform.
There's Aiden Hezarkhani. Now let's go to Pablo Mastroeni. RSL wins 2-1. Gozo gets the assist on the second goal. Great run, great ball for Philip Quinton. Great 60-yard ball, and Piol tapped it in before he tore his Achilles. Here's Pablo Mastroeni after the game.
You seem pretty pumped up at the end there. What was the emotion, I guess, coming out of this game, and what made it so special?
Yeah, I think we played really well last week in Vancouver. Didn't come away with anything. Again, we're now at home. There's a bit of pressure on us to perform well. We got, a couple teenagers out there, and you look across the field and you have probably one of the most experienced, most quality groups in the league. And the way they handled themselves, it wasn't always pretty, but they rolled up their sleeves and just, talk after the game. And the guys said, listen, we're all on the same page, even when it wasn't going our way. Then the other part too was the guys that came in, Sergi, Pablo, and in particular Morgan, just changed the landscape of the game. I think, when we get everyone back and healthy, we're going to be a completely different side. In the meantime, it's really supporting the group, knowing that we have quite a few guys out, and so the culmination of all that is what made me so emotional, because it's really easy to make excuses as to why you don't win games. And the one thing that I can tell you is that group in there won't ever make an excuse.
Thinking about the slogan for this club, winning together through development, you think about the guys like Gozo, Hezarkhani, Moisa there in this game making an impact. Is this kind of just like the quintessential statement game for that mission statement?
I think so. I think we've been really intentional, in particular when Jason came on board, and really being intentional about how we do that, bringing the guys up midweek, having them train with the guys. And in Gozo's case last year, we had an injury. He'd been training with us, and that's how he got his pop. So being really intentional about the development. And then the other part, too, is, I think there's a lot of credit that goes to the guys that are around these guys, because it's really easy as an ex-experienced player. Sometimes it was really easy to make excuses as to why we weren't playing as well and point the finger at the younger guys. But a lot of credit has to go to guys like Jay Glad and Hoffa and everyone else that surrounds these guys, because they're the ones that look after them. They're the ones that guide them when the bullets are flying, right? And so just really pleased as to how we're really doing what we say, which is winning together through development.
Hey, Pablo, congrats on the win. Just kind of piggybacking on what you talked a little bit on it, with this team being so young, what's more important right now in games like this, correcting mistakes or keeping the confidence to them?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both, and I think the way that you correct mistakes is really, really important. The tone of voice, the setting. I think everything is always audience dependent, and so I think with the young guys, there's a lot of one-on-one videos. There's a lot of tones in which we speak. So one of the things I always tell the guys is, like, listen, especially the young guys, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. There's no doubt about that. This is the first time you're at on the stage. The most important thing for me as a coach is having good reactions, not worrying about the mistakes. We'll deal with the mistakes after the game. Just get on to the next play and have good reactions. And I think today the guys did a really good job of getting on to the next play, again, against a really experienced group. And so that's the other part is, like, you got Rusnak, you got the Roldan brothers, you got Yamar and Reagan in the back. I mean, this thing is just shredded with experience. And so for these guys to be able to handle themselves, because even though I say those things, even though they have big guys around them, it's still daunting to go up against a Seattle team who's been together for the last 6 or 7 years and been winning trophies, right? And so to be able to do that at home in front of our fans with the group that we had, it just makes me really proud.
And my last question is, like, if we look back, at this game in 3 months from now, what do you think this night will say about this group, and especially about Aiden Hezarkhani scoring his first goal today?
Yeah, I would say, one of the things that the guys said after the game is that we just have a ton of belief in the way we play, in the players around us, in the way we're set up, in the way we manage games. Game management has been a big topic. I think last year we waited till probably the middle of the season to really delve into that. We hit that early on in preseason. Managing games, it's not going to be pretty, but when we're in a low block, how do we make sure that we negate any opportunities? And so I would say, looking back, it'd be that the group is full of belief. We understand what our roles are, but more importantly, we believe that we're a great team, and we just got to go out and express ourselves.
Pablo, first half, Seattle had a lot of success going down your right side. The second half, there was about 20, 30 minutes where they really had you pinned in. What do you take from this game, and how do you improve on that, or is that kind of something you were expecting?
No. Again, I think teams, and again, I think when you're going week to week, if there are a lot of tactical adjustments, it's going to be really difficult for our young players to grasp on, right? Where Seattle, an experienced group, the coach says, let's do this, and it's really easily interpreted. Because, again, it's not only the tactic, but it's also space and time and where your opponent is, right? And so experience lends itself to being able to do those things really, really quickly because you've seen it millions of times. Inexperienced players struggle with that. So the adjustment we made at halftime was making sure Aiden was always on the goal side of Nuhu, right? And that did a lot. That made it a little bit more predictable for Gozo to step wide. And then the other part too is when we're defending in the wide areas, Gozo is so athletic and energetic that at times he will sprint at the guy. But in defending, you want to sprint and then slow down so that you don't make the plays so easy for him. Like it's just a bull charging at a cape. Right? And so chop your feet. You're the most athletic, the fastest guy on our team. It doesn't matter if he goes left or right. You just got to hit the body and win the ball. And I think he did a much better job in the second half. So I think and those things it's impossible to make those adjustments as the game's going, because it's really detailed as to what we want to do. It's not just saying like just drop behind and do that. You got to move your feet. You got to defend the right way. So, but I think that lended itself to being in a low block a lot in the first half, and a lot in the second half after our goal. But then when the subs came in, I think the game changed. And again, I think that's what Morgan's quality is top.
And then you're probably a little surprised, or are you surprised that the kids did so well, the younger players did so well again tonight? And then also any concerns that Rafa kind of had to, he was standing on his head quite a bit during the game?
Yeah, I don't know that he made a couple saves. I don't know that they were really, really dangerous with that in particular in the second half. I mean, he made that save. He made two big saves, right? One where the guys broke behind and he saved it with his arm, and the other one was in the dying minutes. But what was your question?
Just about him, the kids playing well.
Yeah.
Rafa carrying.
Yeah, no, again, I think, and that's why I think it's like, the young guys are going to do well if they believe they have the guys around them that have their backs. And again, that's where I go to Rafa making those big saves as an example of like, hey, listen, don't worry about it. And he says it quite a bit, guys, just play, just express yourself. We got you back here. And so him and Jay Glad and the guys in the back, Juanma had a fantastic game as well on that left side. And, it was a collective effort, but I think that, again, I think it's a really good performance to build on. And what wins do is it validates the processes that we have. That's all wins do. It's great in the moment, but more importantly, when we go back to work on Monday and we do these said things, it'll be done with a different type of mindset versus when you're not getting the results, you're always down things.
First MLS goal for Aiden. What has stood out about him, and what did it mean to get to see him score tonight? Yeah,
I think he's had an unbelievable preseason with us, and hasn't hit the back of the net in the preseason, but some of his actions, some of his plays were really, really good. And I think the one thing, defensively, he's still understanding concepts, but attacking-wise, he's dialed in. And then to show up in that spot and really execute the way he did, I couldn't be happier for him. He's a fantastic individual. He's going to be a top player in this league. And I think today opening his account is really huge, not only for himself, but also the group.
And y'all haven't lost to the Sounders here since 2012. What is it about this matchup in this building, in this arena, this stadium?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you, but I think both teams feel it. I think when history is extensive as far as the results go, we felt the pressure of making sure we won this game, and I'm sure Seattle felt, this is a tough place to come play, and both will drop seeds either of belief or of a little bit of doubt. So, but yeah, I think at the end of the day, the game can go either way. They had a lot of set pieces, and ball could bounce either way, but just love the way the guys hung in there and were gritty and in their resolve.
Hey, Coach, congratulations on the win.
Thank you, Manny.
On Phillips' pass, is that something that you've seen from him in training, or did that surprise you too?
No, I think one of the things that we talked about this year, I think last year we were very much into building in a really methodical, slow, east to west kind of way. One of the things we've definitely changed is being more vertical. In other words, to make our opponents not know exactly how we're going to go game to game. And when you have, Juanma on one flank and you have Gozo on the other, our outside center backs almost become playmakers from that position. And so I think the action was, I think Gozo checked and went, and those guys have been training together this week, so it's been good. But it was a well-executed ball from Phillip, and it was a fantastic run from Goz. And the best thing about that play was the decision Gozo made, right? That to me says a lot about his growth as a younger player. But before, I think he tried to leather that when he had his teammate. And so that, for me, is the best aspect of that play. But it was really well done from Phillip as well.
And then on Seattle's goal, do you think that was a communication deficit? Did they find a hole in the defense, or what did you see from it?
Yeah, no, we talked with Rafa, and obviously, he came over and he was livid with it. I think the guys made a change on their own in that shape, and we basically vacated the one spot that is really dangerous. With corners where they're going to try to hit the frame, and they put a lot of numbers in there. It's the corner of the 6. It's the hardest one to step out from. So we usually have a guy in that position, but on that particular play, we didn't. So we'll go back and review that. But that was definitely the mix-up.
And then, thank you. Last one for me. I noticed you talking to Yamar at halftime after that, I'll just say challenge. The match got pretty physical, especially around Gozo and Ari. Do you feel that the temperature of the game was handled the way that you'd want it to, or what do you tell the guys in that type of situation?
No, I love dogfights. I love them, man. I love it. What I want is just a fair. If they're going to be in the cage, then just let them in the cage. You know what I mean? It just what isn't for any coach is that's not a foul, but that is. And I think that's any coach will tell you that's the frustrating part. So if you're going to put them in the UFC cage, put them in there. I'm all good with it. I'm all good with it. We got dogs in there. I'm good with that. But if you're not, and you're going to start calling fouls, then it's got to be fair for both teams.
Krishan, next. Do you have any questions?
I was just curious, what do you think the impact is for young fans, Utah youth players, to see someone like Zach Booth make his first home start tonight?
Yeah. I think the great thing is Zach grew up here in Utah and left, and then he came back, and I think he's a wonderful player, and he put in a great shift tonight. Plays for the team. I think he plays for the club. He plays for the state. He represents a lot of Utahns that come to the game, and I think it was obviously a really proud moment for him. But I think that when younger kids come to the stadium and they see these guys like, all of them, Aiden and Gozo and Luka Moisa and Zach Booth, they're probably like 3 or 4 years older than they are, right? So I think that's where magic begins as a young kid, is when you begin to dream and then you see your dream in the stadium become reality. And so I think these guys are really moving the needle as to how we can continue to get some great soccer here in Utah, which I think already exists, but the belief that one day I can represent RSL.
All right, there is RSL head coach Pablo Mastroeni. When we come back, what went wrong with the Utah Mammoth and the Utah Jazz? I mean, the Jazz wanted it to go wrong. We'll get to that next, and then college hoops after that. Stay with us. Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Well, the Utah Mammoth, it looked like a gimme on paper. Chicago's a terrible team. They're down in the standings. Doesn't look like that. The rebuild continues. Doesn't look like they'll come anywhere near the playoffs. And they had to play Saturday night in Colorado and then play Sunday afternoon in Utah. It looked like a brutal scheduling, and then they win 4-0. What happened? 2 points that the Mammoth definitely let get away. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how that happens. Let's get to the best of the Mammoth postgame.
DJ and PK, the Utah Mammoth, after maybe the best win of the year on Friday night against the Minnesota Wild, fell 4-0 to the Chicago Blackhawks on Sunday afternoon at the Delta Center. Utah had been home for 31 straight days, and now they will hit the road. So a change of scenery is coming up as they maintain that first wildcard spot still in the Western Conference, 31-25-4. They've got a 4-point cushion with the tiebreaker over San Jose, Nashville, and LA, holding on to a playoff spot in the Western Conference. And Sunday, I don't think was what any of us expected, especially after that great game against Minnesota on Friday. Utah could have beat anybody in the NHL on Friday, and you thought that would carry into Sunday as the Mammoth wrapped up a 6-game homestand that was bookended around the Olympic break. But Chicago, who had fell in Colorado on Saturday, was able to get off to a strong start. Drew some power plays in the first, kept things going in the second. In 90 seconds, they made a 1-0 lead, 3-0, and a shorthanded goal in the third would pretty much put an end to Utah thinking they were going to get their third comeback of the year when trailing by 3 goals. So Chicago takes it by a count of 4-0. Head coach Andre Turney not really thrilled with anything that happened in the contest. As we start to break things down, let's hear from Mikhail Sergachev after this one as Utah falls 4-0 to Chicago.
Frustrated. What area of the game today do you guys feel that frustration most?
I think we're just disconnected over the edge with the puck, without the puck. On our breakouts, on our ozone play, it just felt disconnected.
How do you get that connection back?
Through work, through video, through just learning about this game. obviously it's tough performance, and our fans deserve better, a lot better than that. But just happens for everyone. We've been playing really good hockey lately, and we just got to get back to that. And through hard work, and we're going to do it.
What was the biggest difference between today's game and Minnesota's game?
We just felt connected against Minnesota. We were trying to get open for each other. We were working for each other in D zone. When one guy got beat, the second guy would always be there to help. Today it just didn't feel like that, and throughout the whole game. So
does that go back to preparation at all? Or?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think our coaches do a good job preparing us for games, and leadership group. It's just one of those games.
What's it like trying to generate offense when you're in the box for most of the first period, and then the second and third still quite a bit in the box as well?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you can't. When you're disconnected, you're chasing the game, and when you're chasing the game, you're taking penalties, and then just one goes over the other, and you're losing the game that way. And we let it slip, obviously, and in the second period. And we just can't do that. Obviously, we didn't play well throughout the whole game, but that moment in the second period, I think, could have held a little better, maybe score a goal, but it doesn't really matter. Give Chicago credit; they played a hell of a game. They're a good, fast team.
Thanks, Jerrod. Thank you.
So you look at special teams and game management in a contest where I think Utah would say worst game of the year, and just came down to those two details, with the power play goal, a shorthanded goal, and then those two goals in less than 90 seconds. The good news is Utah 8-2 after a loss going back to mid-December. So the segments for this team have been solid. They've been consistent. The Mammoth wrapping up this stretch of 13 of 17 games at home, 11-5-1 overall, still 13-6-1 during the 2026 calendar year. And as Utah enters March, outside of November and December, Utah was a top 5 team in the NHL each month in October, January, and February. But now they've got a little bit of a hole to dig out of as we go into March at 0-1. Let's hear from Ian Cole post-game after this contest.
Coach Tony's talked about in the past few days playing with the right type of pace. How would you describe tonight's pace compared to when you guys played Minnesota?
Obviously not very good compared to that. It's tough to get too into the details about it. Obviously I haven't seen it on video, see what it looks like, but the feel of it was not great.
And what goes into making sure you're playing with the right pace? Is it preparation? Is it in-game communication? Or?
I think it's probably a little bit of everything. I mean, I think you need to have good reads to have good pace. You need to obviously have the legs to do it. You need to have the energy to do it. It's good changes. It's a little bit of everything. So obviously wasn't good enough.
What were the Hawks doing to thwart your offense?
Not to discredit anything they did. I think they closed pretty quick. They had good pace. They took away time and space. We didn't handle it well. I think a lot of that blame falls on us. And again, not to take away, anything that they did or didn't do, but I think we had the opportunity to create a lot more things and we didn't.
How much did the penalties factor into this game, especially spending almost half the first period in the box?
Yeah, I mean, obviously not ideal. So, we almost got out of them. Obviously, with the late goal there, it was not good. But that shouldn't dictate the rest of the game.
Sergachev said that he felt disconnected, that the whole team felt disconnected in this game. Why do you think that was, and how do you improve it with a short turnaround going to DC?
Yeah, it's it's a good question. So, like I said, we need to watch the video and figure out, kind of analyze what went wrong there. General feeling, I guess, was, we talked about pace, we talked about, the reads, talked about communication, right? These are all things that go into that equation. So, again, it's tough to pinpoint exactly right now, but certainly needs to be analyzed and fixed going against a good team in DC.
What do the conversations need to be moving forward as you guys are coming down the stretch and have to make sure that you avoid, those types of performances again?
Well, I mean, I think it's exactly that. It can't it can't continue to happen. We play, one good game, one not great game, one good game, one bad game. Just too inconsistent.
Thanks, Ian.
And for head coach Andre Cherney, the toughest thing was if you're going to lose a game, don't lose it at home on a Sunday afternoon in front of the fans. And that was a tough one to swallow for Bear and the guys after this one.
Obviously, extremely disappointed about all of us, coaches and player. I think we have to be much better. There's no reason or that should never happen kind of effort in front of our fans. So really disappointed about us, and it's all of us, starting by myself, and that cannot happen again.
Sergachev said the group felt disconnected. How can they become connected once again?
Well, it's a good question. I don't know how you do to play like that. I don't have much explanation on why our head was in that space. I don't know.
Is there a particular area that you need to see not happen again? Obviously, the game itself didn't need to happen again, but it's one in particular?
No, I don't know. Other than I think JJ's line, I don't think we did one good thing in that.
From your perspective, did it look like the defense may have, allowed Benji to be put in some tough scenarios?
Yeah, but I don't think, like I said, I don't think anybody was good. Like I said, JJ's line was all right, but I don't think from the goaltenders or our D, our forward, our forecheck, our back check, our D zone, our power play, our PK. I cannot find you a bright spot.
Contrasting this game against the Minnesota game, do you think there was any element of overconfidence or under preparation or anything like that?
It's a good question in the sense of that question. That's what we need to beat up and figure it out. But at the end of the day, we're serious about our business, and who's on the other side, we need 2 points every night, and we're in a hell of a race. That game we need to take that game and learn, and that has to hurt big time. So we make sure that doesn't happen again. If that's the purpose of that game, it is what it is. But there's no reason for us to play like that.
And we'll be talking all about it coming up on Mammoth Daily in the Morning, wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Utah Mammoth YouTube page, Mammoth Plus, and SCG Plus with you Monday through Friday, wherever you get your podcasts on Mike's Morning After. And our Monday Morning Power Play will get you the top 5 stories of the week as we head in to a Tuesday against the Washington Capitals. Mammoth will open up a 5-game road trip at 5 p.m. in D.C. before they'll head to Philly on Thursday, Columbus Saturday, and then a week from tonight, back against the Chicago Blackhawks, who they're 0-2 this year. Only Central Division team they haven't beaten, and then the Minnesota Wild coming up a week from tomorrow.
Utah Mammoth lose 4-0 to Chicago. Meanwhile, the Jazz lose to the Pelicans twice, and now the Pelicans have moved past them in the standings. Let's get to the best of the Jazz postgame show.
It's your Jazz recap here on DJ and PK, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Jake Scott with you. The Jazz fall to the Pelicans on Saturday night, 115 to 105. The Jazz trailed by as many as 27 in this game. Fought back in the fourth quarter to get it as close as 7 points, but to no avail. They come up short against New Orleans. Let's get to the postgame sound of Jazz head coach Will Hardy.
I thought the urgency in the second half defensively was so much better. Only 18 paint points for them in the second half, only 2 transition points in the second half. I do recognize that it can be discouraging when we shoot the ball that poorly. There are some nights where you just can't get one to go in. Our guys, I felt like battled. We won the possession battle by a bunch tonight, which always gives you a chance to win, but 27% from three is hard. Was proud of the way we took care of the ball. I think that's a step in the right direction, and for the team to respond at halftime the way they did, they deserve credit. I thought our physicality was much better in the second half. Those are things that we can build on going forward.
How did you feel like Calho's minutes went tonight?
As expected. A little rusty, but I thought he was moving great. Thought he was getting up and down well. I thought he made some athletic plays in small spaces. I was more concerned with his willingness to slam on the brakes, and I thought he had a couple possessions where he really pushed it athletically. His change of direction offensively has become a weapon for him. And obviously, to play good defense, you have to be willing to plant and change directions. So I think for the most part, he did okay. I'm sure he's, like any player, he's frustrated. He probably feels like he should have made a few more shots, but that's not what I was watching tonight.
With guys like Blake and EJ, what are you looking for from them kind of through the last stretch of the season?
I think understanding and continuing to form their NBA identity. Like, who are you now? How do you help the team now when you go in the game? I think EJ is probably a little bit further along than Blake, just based on some opportunity. And his identity seems to be relatively clear in this moment. I think that Blake gives us some great spacing offensively. I think when Blake plays off the catch, he's been dangerous for us. Defensively, we've got to continue to shore up some of the team defensive stuff, but his physicality's been great. His willingness to work has been great. I think he's making good progress in the short time he's been with us. He's trying to learn at practice. He's trying to learn via film. He's 50 games behind his teammates in terms of what's expected of him here. I think he has good basketball instincts, though, so that helps. I've been pleased with both those guys.
You've mentioned it kind of all season, Isaiah playing off 2 feet and that being such a big thing, but I think I can recall 3 plays specifically where it was so obvious, the 2 feet. I mean, how does that continue to grow even just within the month of February?
Yeah, he's finding different ways to get to 2 feet, which I think is important. He's doing it going both directions. He's figuring out ways to get to his floater, which has become a weapon. And he's recognizing the difference of how to find 2 feet depending on who's guarding him. Sometimes if it's a bigger defender, you're bumping them and trying to space away off 2 feet to create some separation. Some smaller defenders, you're trying to play through them off 2 feet. And I think Zay's done a nice job of continuing to build that part of his game. It gives him opportunities to score, but more than that, it slows down the decision to pass a little bit. I thought tonight was a great example of he didn't quite have the rhythm of it in the first half, and as the second half unfolded, he found it, and that's a sign of growth to be able to change things in a game. A lot of young players, you're having to address things in between games, and I think that's a sign that someone is really recognizing what's going on when they can change things throughout the course of 48 minutes.
There's Jazz head coach Will Hardy. Let's now move on to the players. Keontae George made his return to the lineup. Let's hear from him.
It's hard being on the sideline for so long, so it felt good to kind of be a part of the energy tonight.
Will says that your breaks and the way you're able to have hard stops in games is like one of your biggest strengths out there, and your ability to switch and stuff. How did it feel being back on there on the court tonight, doing that?
Wait, you said Will said what?
Your hard stops and like your breaks, the way you're able to switch speed so quickly and things, that's one of your biggest strengths. How did that feel, being able to do that back in live game reps?
Yeah, obviously you can't replicate the game. But yeah, just being able to change speed, change the pace. Obviously, I feel like my pop was there. So it's just about, we don't play basketball for a long time. It's, you kind of want to see how that first game goes. And I just wanted to go out there and, give to the group. I didn't want to take away. I didn't want to force anything. I just wanted to play the game, see what the game give me. And, I feel like I did a decent job tonight of, just letting the game come to me and, try to, up my competitiveness.
That's Keontae George, 17 points in his return, but the Jazz fall to the Pelicans 115-105. Next up, the Jazz take on the Nuggets at the Delt Center tonight. Tip-offs at 7, pregame's at 6.
All right, there's the best of the Jazz postgame show. We'll take a break. When we come back, we will pivot to the college basketball. Utah State, it was a squeaker, but they won it, and BYU can't get it done at West Virginia. We'll hear from both coaches next. Stay with us. Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Well, a brilliant start and a really good first half had Utah State in control. And with 10 minutes left in the game, the 17-point lead was down to 1. And with 8 minutes left, they were tied. And then the Aggies had to grind to the finish line, but they did get the win. Here's Scott Gerard with head coach Jerrod Calhoun after the Aggies beat Grand Canyon at home.
We talked about it for 2 days. It doesn't matter what it looks like. You got to find a way. I thought Joe Mazzulla gave me great advice over the last 2 days. He really helped me with the messaging, and I thought it was really good. Everybody wants the responsibility till it's time to have the responsibility and the pressure. And really, really proud of our guys in these pressure moments. Did we miss free throws? Did we miss blockouts? We did a whole lot of nonsense, but we found a way to win, and we're 40 minutes away from a championship. So the reality of it is we got to get off our feet, lock in. We got a very difficult game on the road on Tuesday, and then another very difficult game on Saturday. But if you win them both, you're the outright champs. You don't share it. So you lose them both, you're probably not going to win anything. So stakes are high, responsibility's high. We got to keep playing well.
You knew Grand Canyon was going to make a run. They're just too good. You knew that they were going to withstand a haymaker and throw a couple of their own. And when they come back and take a 1-point lead off that three with about 4.5 minutes left, your team could have gone one or two ways, and you respond with a 7-0 run.
Yeah, I thought everybody kind of kept their composure. I thought Mason was great in the huddle. He needs these moments. We need these for March. March is tonight in about, an hour and a half. Yeah. It's the greatest time in the world for college basketball players and fans and coaches. So I thought he really led us and said we're not going to lose this game. I thought Colby King had a timely shot. MJ Collins had a timely shot that probably helped us win the game. Drake had a stretch, I thought, Scotty, that he put us on his back for a number of plays.
Colby hits the three, but then also forces a steal on the other end. So just showing what he can do on both ends.
Yeah, huge plays.
And you and I talked on the coaches show about it's time for the seniors to lead this team, and I thought Colby had one of those moments.
Yeah, I mean, that's why we're playing those guys so many minutes. It's their team at this point. They don't get to do this too much longer. So Colby kept saying, put me in, coach, put me in. We put Addy on the bench. He's got to pick it up. And at the end of the day, Colby wanted to be out there. He said, Coach, get me in the game. And when kids are saying that, they're ready for the moment, and that was a massive shot and a massive steal.
Talk about the start. You guys started obviously on fire offensively, but then defensively, I thought you were in them. The level of intensity was really good. Just talk about the locker room before the game and then coming out like that.
The messaging before the game, Spence, was team and together. Help each other defensively, move the ball. I felt like we got trigger happy the last two games before this. Just, bad shot selection. But we came out of halftime and couldn't make a shot, and we started to let that affect the way we were guarding, and give them a lot of credit. They put a lot of pressure on the rim, and then obviously number 2, Williamson is a stud. I mean, so they just drive in your gaps, and if you help, they kick. He makes shots. Kid from Gonzaga, he was good. So they're a hard matchup. I would not be surprised if they make a run in the tournament. But I've said that now about them. New Mexico, Colorado State's won 7 in a row or whatever. UNLV, Nevada. I mean, the league is loaded, so you just got to find ways to win. That's all it comes down to.
Yeah, the scary thing is, there's 7 teams in this league right now that could get hot at the right time. They have the right pieces in doing it. But you mentioned about the moment not being too big, and I think Colby King, MJ on the baseline as well. But you're right. Everyone wants to be the guy to make the shot.
until you got to do it
in front of 10,000 people, and you know what the consequences are if you miss it. And I've seen so many guys through the years back off that. There was no hesitation out of either one of those dudes. I thought that was a great sign.
Yeah, and I thought Spencer Butterfield gave us a great pregame talk. We showed some of his highlights. Man, could that guy play?
Yeah, he was awesome, and he was even better.
Yeah, we got to get you. We got to get you for UNLV.
No. You don't want me. I'm a jinx. I'm telling you, you do not want me speaking. But what did Spencer say?
Just really, you only get one opportunity. He said, I'd do anything to be back in the spec tonight. It's past my prime. I'll be there rooting for you. But you're on the verge, right? You've got to understand the opportunity you have. Don't take plays off. Play together. And I thought it was really, really a good message.
Every game we say this to a certain extent, but every game this crowd just keeps elevating and taking another step and another step. And them kind of willing your team to get through some of that offensive sluggish there in the second half I thought was huge.
First half we were awesome. The place was rocking. And then the first 6 minutes I think we put them to sleep. The herd was incredible. We just couldn't make any shots, couldn't get any plays going. And then the last 6-7 minutes it was just electric in here. And our guys fed off of that defensively, and we finally got the ball to go in. Man, it's amazing the mood of your team depending on the ball going in or not. And we got to understand, but tonight was a great win because of the way we won. Obviously it's late in the year, you're trying to win this league championship, but you got to be able to win ugly. And tonight in the second half it was an ugly offensive game.
Hey, and I know you're more impressed with a great defensive play, but Drake Allen left-handed dunk.
Yeah, I want to go back and look
over
at that because I was standing and I saw the herd. As soon as that thing went down, I mean, they erupted. And that was over a 7-footer.
That was over a 7-foot grown man, not a freshman, who's played Eastern European
Problem is,
basketball.
It's too late for Sports Center, right? It's already happened.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. That was one of the most impressive dunks that I've seen. And that talks about. You said he put you guys on his back, made threes, went to the rim. But physically, he is so gifted.
Yeah, he's strong. He's big, 6'4". He just got to continue to get more confidence. He hasn't been in a lot of these moments, like at the free throw line. So although they missed some of those opportunities, I think it's going to help us.
Absolutely.
And I thought, when he came out of the game and Elijah came in and you needed somebody to make a play at the rim, I thought it was awesome.
That was great.
Layup and should have been got a foul on it, too.
Elijah, when he's dialed in, worried about the right stuff, he's got great messaging with his teammates, and freshmen go up and down sometimes, Scotty, with their attitudes and their work ethic day to day. Couldn't be more proud of him. I thought he played big-time minutes tonight.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, last guy, Drake in the first half. Second half, Mason, MJ got it going. Yep. Carson was the one guy offensively, honestly, that showed up in both halves. I think he had 8 in the first and 7 in the second, and kind of was consistent.
I thought you were going to comment on his threes. I mean,
do you want to know what? Do you want to know what?
I told him you got the green light tonight. I said you're playing against a 7-footer. He's going to be in drop coverage. Let it rip, and he pointed over at me when he made it.
He almost broke the backboard with the first one in the second half, and Gary Clark was coming and someone else. And you know what I loved? Well, I loved because it went in, but he, once again, at the top of the key, he was able to knock it in, and huge, no hesitation. And once again, it goes back to that shoot around. And I can't say anything.
Spence, you got to do that with 7-footers that are going to be in drop.
Sure.
Like you got to live with the result, right? Yeah. I mean, we had that result really good in the first half.
Wow, they called the foul on Nevada.
Yeah, it's going to go to overtime.
Utah State with that win now has a 1-game lead in the Mountain West with 2 games to go. They are off to UNLV next, and then back home to wrap things up with New Mexico. All right, let's pivot to BYU. Losers now of 8 of their last 12 games. They were beaten at West Virginia. Again, a bad start. Again, a deep hole. Again, a late rally. And again, it wasn't enough. Let's go to the podium after BYU loses at West Virginia. The head coach, Kevin Young, AJ Bonsa, and Rob Wright with the media.
Kevin, your overall take on the game, and as opposed to your effort level, better this game than the last game, and what was your take on that?
It was a joke. In the first half, it was a joke. Not the whole half, but they went on that flurry, and it was just some of the clips we watched at halftime were just inexcusable. So I thought our guys responded at halftime and brought better effort in the second half.
again, another really rough first half. Can you put your finger on why that keeps happening?
Different reasons every game. This game, it was our decision making. Driving in the crowd, turning the ball over, not getting shots on goal. When we did what we were supposed to do on offensive, we did a decent enough job. And then the defensive intensity was abysmal, like I said, in the first half. So those two factors got us off to that start.
The end of the game, Kevin made the putback. You cut it to 3, and then you had a chance. You got a stop. What did you think of your late game execution?
Offensively, it was fine. Defensively, it was a disaster.
Anybody else besides Jay want to ask a question? Go ahead.
Coach, what did you like off the bench specifically from Kostic, chipped in 12 today?
Shot making. Yeah, I mean, he's a guy that can space the floor for us. He's tough, too. I think he brings a little bit of an edge. So he's a guy, given this, the state our team's in, his ability to space the floor is important.
What role did you feel like rebounding played in the outcome today?
That's why we lost. They had 18 offensive rebounds. And we're usually really we're actually usually really good. We're one of the best teams in the conference with that. But they only turned those into 15-second chance points. But every time we had them on the ropes, it felt like they got an offensive rebound that made it difficult. And look, I mean, I'm upset. Obviously, I'm disappointed. But you hold their two top guys 6 of 23 between Huff and Eagle staff, most nights they're going to have a hard time winning. But I thought it was Lorient, Moore, and Thomas were just men out there, and they kicked our butt. Credit to them.
All right, we'll open it for some questions for student athletes. Jay?
AJ, how do you feel like you played, and how do you feel like the effort was in the second half as compared to the first?
Like Coach said, the effort was just way better in the second half, but we just got to figure out a way to, start the game like that. We always want to start. We don't always want to start slow. You never really want to start slow, but it feels like every single game we starting slow. But individually, I thought I played all right. Could have played way better. Could have got more rebounds, more assists, try to get my teammates involved.
Go ahead.
What was kind of working with you offensively in that second half?
Just trying to stay more aggressive. To try to get to my spots and raise up, not trying to pump fake too much, but just trying to find my guys so they can hit threes. I know Rob hit one early, but trying to find Alex and stuff like that.
Right. Jay?
Rob, you guys struggled with turnovers in the first half, got a better job in the second half. Why was that? And then what did you think of your late game execution?
I think it was just the decision making, like Coach said. We had a couple of turnovers with our aggressive defense, and then I feel like late game we had that one turnover at the end to say I feel like if we fixed that one, then we'd probably be a different story.
And even that, Jay, too, I think where you're kind of going.
It sounds like you're questioning the execution in the second half. That turnover he's referencing, I don't know if I would point that to execution as it was just is a broken play. It was the wrong decision. But in terms of things we actually had to execute offensively, I thought we came out of timeouts, he got a good look at a 3. And so I think where you're going, I would point it more to decision making than I would execution, which was this the case in the first half. These two guys, I thought he wasn't great with his decision making in the first half. Second half did a much better job. Thought Rob had a steady hand all night, playing 40 straight minutes again tonight. And so there are things that we can definitely take from this game that was a positive, but you're just disappointed to come up short.
AJ, this is like a trash can moment. February's over. So whatever happened, now you're playing for March. But what can you learn from what happened this month? It's just been such an up and down time.
Just trying to learn from the wins and losses, the good things that we've done in the wins, and the bad things we've done in the losses, and trying to just translate that to the upcoming one.
I'll go over here.
AJ, it wasn't like it was the same WVU guy on you every possession, screens and things like that. Lorient guarded you a lot, though. Can you just kind of grade or just what he was able to accomplish? Was he physical? How did he kind of match up against you tonight?
Yeah, he was solid. He sent me into the double, which is probably their defensive scheme, and I've seen a lot of bodies tonight, so credit to him.
All right, last question. We'll go 2 more questions right here, then right here. Coach, just following up on that, what is your message to the team moving forward, and what does AJ he's doing it all, but what advice would you give to him?
No, well, first I appreciate your question to AJ and how you worded it. I might steal that, honestly, the trash can. Throw it all in there, man. February's over with. So, it's been hard, I'll be honest. The whole season's been full of adversity, and I don't go too philosophical very often, but that's life, man. Crap happens, and you got to friggin' figure out a way to get through hard stuff is the bottom line. And so the thing I am proud of our group for staying together. It has been challenging. There's no getting around it. Richie gets all the headlines, but we've got 5 guys who aren't playing for us right now. 3 of which would be rotation guys. And so you can either make an excuse about that, or you can throw it in a trash can, like you said. And we've still proven that we can play with the best teams, even with the injuries that we had. And so we have to galvanize ourselves. I thought we were, and the thing that I'm kind of dumbfounded on is I thought after that big win against Iowa State we would be able to galvanize ourselves a little more than we have. And so that's my message to the guys is, what they want is still in front of them. We obviously have some work to do, but you do kind of have to throw it in a trash can, and at some point you just got to decide this is who we want to be.
What is he needed? What message would you give him in person?
Yeah, kind of that message of who do you want to be, just from an intensity standpoint. I think him and Rob both, are learning on the fly about leadership. That we definitely miss Richie in that space, and these 2 young men have to step up in that area. And he's young, he's a second-year guy, and so that's part of growing up. It's part of learning, right? So when you do get to March, you've got a body of work that you can rely on. So I think just more, galvanizing of the team and more leadership is what I would love out of these 2 guys.
Great questions. Thank you. We'll end with here.
Rob, both you and Anna were trading shots throughout the game. What makes him so hard to guard?
I think just his shot making ability. He makes tough threes, tough shots. So you just got to guard him, and then he's a little crafty. So I think that's what it is.
All right, there are the Cougars after they lose at West Virginia. On to Cincinnati now for their last regular season road game. We'll take a break. When we come back, what is trending? The headlines are next.